So you have Lakers get Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, who low-key could be a piece. You always want to surround LeBron James with shooters. And then Markieff Morris, you would like to think he's probably going to be a buyout type of person, but we shall see, right? When it comes to, how that goes in terms of buyout season, it's coming. We know how that's going to go. But ultimately, I want to tap into the finer details because the Lakers only had to give up one first round pick. So imagine you're the Lakers and you're able to get out from Anthony Davis, who we've seen this Bron AD thing. It worked in the bubble. They got the bubble ring. But unfortunately, when you're trying to figure out what's next, I don't understand how Bron and Luka play together. Now, we can have that conversation in regards to, okay, we're going to have two guys that can distribute, two guys that are triple-double threats. Even LeBron, still at this advanced age, is still a triple-double threat. Just had a triple-double at the Mecca the other night. So when we're talking about how does Luka and LeBron play together, obviously very well. Obviously two guys that can facilitate, two guys that can, grab boards, push the rock, get up tempo. But who are they going to be passing to now? Is this a move that has another move lurking in the background? Because while I can understand the concept of, well, LeBron is 40. We don't know how many more years we got left with him. We need to have another guy. The Lakers always find a way to have a guy, from goddamn George Mikan back in the day to Elgin Baylor to Kareem to Magic to Shaq to Kobe and now LeBron. Who's going to be that next guy for the Lake Show? And it turns out they're handing the keys to Luka Doncic. That's amazing to me because we've seen the LeBron AD thing work, and it worked and it got the bubble ring, right? And we've seen it be effective in the playoffs. But then injuries happen, things happen, and just they've only been able to put it together just that one year. It's really interesting to see how this dynamic plays out because I think there has to be another move because there's no size on this roster now. There's no size on this roster. Let me see. I think I have the Lakers' current roster. I see Zach pulling up. Lake Show back up. Yeah, they are. They are. I mean, there's no way around it. There's no way around. The Lake Show is definitely back up. But are they back up this year or for the next 3 to 4 years? That's the question with this deal. Like, you're not making this trade for right now, right? You're making this trade for the future. But if that's the case, where does LeBron fit in his future? As long as Bronny's there, LeBron's going to be there. I don't see LeBron leaving his son and going somewhere else. Like, there's always a thing of, will LeBron go to the Warriors? Will LeBron go to the Dubs? Link up with Steph? They've been talking about it in plain sight in front of everybody over the last couple of years. Will it actually now become a thing? Don't know. But in regards to size, let's see if we can find, I got the rosters up. Okay, so these are the current rosters. Let's see, is that big? Oh, that takes me out the way. All right, so let's go ahead and do that instead. All right, so clearly you have Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Bron, Rui Hachimura, and now Jackson Hayes is your starting center. That's not good. That's not good. So that means to me there has to be a trade for a big or a buyout for a big at some point. When you look at the reaction around the league as teams were trying to figure out what was going on. Let's see. Look, Jalen Brunson, April Fools. Jalen Brunson, holy shit. Tyler Hero, what the fuck? Alex Caruso, Shams gotta be hacked. Maxey, Josh Hart, Embiid. Everyone reacted the same way when it came to this deal. And that speaks volumes. Like Kevin Durant spoke and they have footage of him. Well, this is the Blazers. This is the Blazers finding out. And look at Matisse Thybulle. Ayton's finding out. Look at, this is everyone's reaction. This was everybody's face. This was everybody's face when we got those alerts. This is everybody's face. Like, what the hell did we just see? What the hell did Shams just tweet out? And then Chris Haynes confirmed, and then all your usual NBA insiders bum rush to say, yes, this is really a thing. It's happening. This was everyone's reaction. Just that stunned disbelief of, they really just traded Luka? And they traded Luka for AD? Like, Bron and AD is not going to be a thing anymore? It's now Luka and Bron. How's that going to look? Like, all those questions start to just come crazy immediately. All those things come right away. And then when we come to the Suns, KD and Brad Beal finding out someone again passed the phone. They're all reading the details of it. And look at KD's face. Just leans back. Leans back like, again, WTF, what the fuck? Like, what just happened? What did I just see? What did I just read on the internet? And then you're going to see Bradley Beal. Look, Bradley Beal is leaning back in his chair like, bruh, I'm trying to get the hell up out of here. This man KD clearly don't want me here. He wants Jimmy. And Bron in the middle of the night, in the depths of the night, goes and gets Luka. That's the look of Brad Beal like, yo, the game is rigged. The game is rigged. I'm trying to get up out of here. I got a no trade clause. I only want to go to certain places. And these folk is not trying to get me up out of here. And LeBron goes off and steals off and gets Luka. That's the look. That's the look of disbelief. Look at KD again. KD's face is all like, yo, bro, what the like, seriously. That's what we're looking at with this deal. That's the magnitude. This is a true definition of a blockbuster trade. I know in this, social media, place that we live in, everything's about the transaction. Every transaction matters. Every transaction gets a graphic. You know what I'm saying? But this was an actual blockbuster trade. Anthony Davis is still a top tier player. Luka, again, a lot of asterisks. When healthy, when in shape, is a top tier, you could argue top 5 player, certainly top 5 offensive player, and you could debate if he's top 5 overall. Again, but the asterisk, when he's healthy, when he's in shape. To be able to flip those two, and no rumors. Your man's Bill Simmons didn't have this. There was no hot take that jumped out the window saying Bron and AD are on the outs. They had the report just last week that Bron and AD were talking to Pelinka on how to improve the team. That was considered legitimate tea. Now what? They just got rid of AD. So again, you have to be careful following along with what people tweet out. It's a lot of engagement farming. It's a lot of clickbait. But that's what we're living in, right? Like that's the thing where we're like, well, y'all just said Bron and AD met with Pelinka to improve the roster. Did that mean getting AD up out of there? Was that improving the roster? Like you're telling me Bron, Pelinka, assumingly Rich Paul sat down with AD and was like, all right, dogs, the only way we know how to improve this roster is to flip you. So where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. Zach is a big Lake Show guy. Next decade if he's healthy. Yeah, I mean, I think that's something where that's always going to be the bugaboo with Luka. I mean, he's literally hurt right now, right? Like he's out right now. And, AD didn't play against the Knicks. And I was like, oh, that's strange. He seemed to be healthy. But now we know why. AD stayed at home, didn't take that trip across the country to go play the Knicks. This was always in the mix. And there's going to be a lot of reports of the players had no idea. This took everybody by surprise. You think Rob Pelinka would trade Anthony Davis without consulting either Rich Paul and or LeBron? Come on, son. Come on, son. Derpy, what's good, man? It's been a minute. This is good for the future of the Lakers. Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. This is definitely not a move for right now. And that's why I'm thinking, if we know LeBron still wants to win. We know LeBron doesn't give away years, right? LeBron doesn't give away years. That's why when he got there, he got all them youngins up out of there. Ingram, Randall, got them all up out of there, right? So we know LeBron ain't about wasting no years. If Luka is now all of a sudden healthy and he could come back and hoop right away, maybe after the All-Star break, then okay, cool. Then this trade is also for right now. But if Luka is really out for a minute, then what does the second half of this year look like for LeBron? He's just going to go hoop with a bunch of dudes? He's going to go out there and hoop with the likes of Jackson Hayes? Is this where we at with here? Is he really just going to go out here and hoop? With Gabe Vincent, Shake Milton, Dalton Connect is nice. I mean, maybe Bronny gets more minutes now. They stole off and got Finney Smith for the low. Like, there's no big on this roster. Christian Wood is injured, but even when he's healthy, he's not a traditional big, and not even a traditional big in the old school sense, he's not even a traditional big for the here and now, right? He's a 4 that has to play the 5. Sneaky low key. AD kind of makes out like a bandit here because he gets to go to a team that actually has a center. Like the Mavericks have a center, and AD's whole thing has been, I don't want to play the 5. I don't want to be a 5. I don't want to play the 5. Now he gets to go to a team that actually has a 5 in Daniel Gafford. So AD kind of comes out on top there. But this is who you tell me LeBron's going to spend the next couple of months, assuming Luka is out. He going to hoop with these dudes, and that's it. LeBron going to tank for 2026? I don't see a 40-year-old LeBron on that type of time. So I'm interested. There has to be another move. Has to be a buyout candidate for a big somebody. Maybe Nurkic. You know, Phoenix has been trying to flip Nurkic again to create the space to try to get Jimmy. Maybe the Lake Show now sneaks in and go get Nurkic. But there has to be a big at some point because AD was your 5. Even though he didn't want to play it, he was the 5. And now your 5 is gone. Derpy. Once LeBron retires, now they have their star for the future. Yeah, I mean that's their pedigree, right? Mikan to Elgin to Kareem to Magic to Shaq to Kobe to LeBron, now to Luka. Zach, trade for Vooch, Valanciunas to try and win this year. I like Vucevic more than Valanciunas. The Bulls always hold Vucevic for ransom. It's one of the most ridiculous things ever. They're not going to win anything with him. They're not getting anything out of him in terms of wins or production or leadership or anything of that matter. Just go ahead and flip that man. So if I'm Pelinka, or let's talk about who the real GM is. If I'm Braun, I want Vucevic because, again, if you're going to go out here and just have an all-passing squad where I want as many dynamic people on the court, maybe that's what LeBron has realized, right? I can still take over occasionally, but it would be much easier, you know, in Cleveland and in Miami to a lesser degree, but certainly that second run in Cleveland, it was just surround LeBron with shooters. He'll do all the work and he'll pass it to the right person, and then that person will likely shoot a 3. Has that now evolved to where we got, okay, LeBron can turn it on and off, even at 40, but he needs somebody else to be able to take over for periods of time. He needs someone that can also facilitate, that can also grab boards and do all that type of stuff. Luka, we know for sure can do that. I think Vucevic, even though he's getting a little older, he's getting a little longer in the tooth, I think he has a type of capability as well where he can still give you double-doubles. He can still go out there and give you some dimes. And he's just solid. You know what you're getting. You're never going to get a 50 burger out of Vucevic, right? Vucevic is never going to give you a 50 burger. But he can occasionally give you a 30 piece. He will likely give you a 20 piece. And he's always good for 8 to 12 boards, right? That's where he's at. So if that's your 5, I think that's a win enough for now type of move. Scrub in the house. What's good, Scrub Zero? Lakers back to having 2 high-profile, ball-dominant players. Yeah. I mean, I look at it slightly different from LeBron has a love affair with Luka Doncic that hasn't been talked about. And Windhurst talked about it, you know, when everyone was trying to run to get their content out and just speak on whatever they know. Windhurst touched on it briefly, but I think there's a lot to it, and we know how tapped in Windhurst did to the whole LeBron camp. LeBron loves him some Luka. So much so that he tried to recruit Luka to get down with Nike and not, I mean, he ended up being with Jordan Brand, but Bron was trying to get Luka over to Nike just straight up, right? And in that, allegedly, and Windhurst kind of is putting this tea out here, but this was talked about behind the scenes for a while, but allegedly there was a scenario where when Bron was a free agent and he was considering Lakers re-up, do I re-up, yes or no, that Kyrie was in LeBron's ear saying, "You're pull up to Dallas, bruh. Me, you, and Luka can cook up, bruh. We can make this happen, bruh." And allegedly LeBron considered it, but ultimately we now know he stayed and re-upped with the Lake Show. Only to go ahead and snipe Kyrie and take Luka from him. Like, that's the most LeBron shit ever. Like, LeBron has a way, once he's done with you, he's done with you. Like, all right, I'm in Miami. I'm going to use this culture. I'm going to go hang out with my mans D Wade, Chris Bosh, yes, Jules. Oh. D Wade and Chris Bosh did that, used them for what he needed, got his 2 chips, got the monkey off his back of never winning a ring. He can now enter the GOAT conversations and all that stuff. All right, I'm out. I'm back on my player empowerment. It's all about me type shit, right? Then he goes, back home to Cleveland. Kyrie, let's go get Kevin Love, J.R. Smith. All right, this ain't moving right. All right, boom. Let's go get Channing Frye, Richard Jefferson. Let's go get all these dudes who want to hoop with me, and let's figure it out. And then they go and they figure it out and they beat the 73-9 Warriors and get them up out of there. And legacy is cemented. Cleveland, this is for you. Then once he's done with that, all right, now I've won, period, in Miami. Won 2 chips. Could have only really won 1. But he won 2 chips in Miami. Comes back home, comes to the crib, validates coming back home, wins a chip there. Now, all right, I'm done with Cleveland. I'm getting up out of there. I've milked that. I've now cemented my legacy at the crib. No one can ever say nothing about me. I did it for the city. Cool. Now it's time for my business shit. Now I'm going to go to LA. I'm going to tell Jeannie everything she needs to know. I'm going to tell her, Happy International Women's Day, and talk with Kurt Rambis, his wife. And we all know that meme, right? LeBron was out here. LeBron was out here cooking up. He was out here cooking up. But now he's kind of done with that. He got the chip in the bubble. Now he's got 4, right? So I did 2 for Miami, 1 for Cleveland, 1 for LA. I've cemented my legacy. All right, I've done all the business plays. What else can I do now? What else can I do? Well, AD, it worked when it worked, but it hasn't worked more times than it has worked. I think I've done all I can with this. All right, Kyrie, you said me, you, and Luka will cook up. And I've been flirting with Luka low-key, trying to get him over to Nike. And what if I could snipe and just go get Luka for myself? I mean, I don't need Kyrie if I got Luka, right? All right, yo, Rob, Rich, Jeannie on 3-way, yo, 4-way, yo, we gotta make this happen. I need Luka. I think that's a likely scenario. When LeBron is done with you, he either moves on or he gets you about the pain. That's the LeBron James MO. Mavs main. Oh, we need to hear from Mavs main. He is a hardcore, diehard Mavs fan. I'm always tapped in with his content. Y'all should tap in with him. Tap in with Scrub Zero as well. He does good content as well, live streams and watch alongs, things like that. But Mavs main, tap in with him. He's going through it. So let's give him the floor a little bit for Mavs main, because he's a big Luka guy. But let's see what he has to say, because he's already put out some content about it. So tap in with him and his channel. NBA helping the Lakers again. What else is new? All right, see this. Now again, that's why I had to preface everything by saying this is the Mavs, as if his name isn't enough, but this is a Mavs fan. So I don't think the NBA is helping the Lakers on this one. I think this says more about the Mavericks than the Lakers actually. The Mavericks willing to move on from Luka Doncic speaks more than the Lakers deciding it's time to flip AD while we can. This to me shows that they don't believe this man is serious about keeping himself in shape. And that's always been the knock on Luka. He's great, he's top tier, he's top 5, but 1, is he healthy? 2, is he in shape? We saw it in the finals. We literally saw it in the finals. Kyrie did not have a great finals. It was going to take a superhuman effort from Luka to try to get that chip off, and he just couldn't deliver. Now, was he injured? Probably, because most of those dudes on the court were injured, though, so we can kind of throw that out. But the conditioning, was he in shape? And the answer is always likely to be no instead of yes. And that's always going to be the thing with Luka Doncic. So I don't think this is I don't think this is Adam Silver. I don't think this is a conspiracy. I think this is the Mavericks realizing, okay, how far are we going to get with Luka? We saw the apex of it last season. We saw the apex of it. That's the best they're going to be, right? This group of Mavs, that's the best they're going to be. Losing to the Celtics in the finals. If that's the case, how can we retool this roster? How can we figure out what's going on with this roster? I think they ultimately decided, are we really going to handle a $300+ million? That's more than Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Are we going to hand over this kind of money to Luka Doncic, who we know is hardly ever in shape and is often injured? Like, the knock on Anthony Davis was always, he's always hurt. That hasn't been the narrative the last couple of years. It still has been the case, an evergreen case, when it comes to Luka Doncic. Zach in the chat, one reporter said the Mavs GM approached the Lakers to move Luka. Yeah, that's what everyone is kind of taking and running with. Like, the Mavs decided it's time to move on from Luka. And they behind the scenes reached out to the Lakers and said, hey, look, if you keep this on the low, we might be able to get this done. Luka for AD. Can we figure this out? That's real. I believe that. And that's why I think it's more about the Mavericks deciding Luka's not it going forward. Like, we're not going to get the return on that $355 million or something crazy. I got the numbers here. Let's go through some of these numbers here. Yeah, so now because Luka was traded, he can no longer get the Supermax. He can still get extended. He was up for an extension this year. If he would have stayed in Dallas, he would have been able to cop and get a 355+ extension, right? The Jaylen Brown type of deal, the Jason Tatum type of deal. Now that he's traded, that drops him now. So now he can only get 5 years, $229 million. But there's a way, and let me see if I can pull that tweet up. Where's that tweet? There was a tweet where that said, now that, all right, I thought I had it. All right. There's a way where now, if Luka takes this extension, right, the 5 years, 200 and whatever million, right? There's a way where he can recoup some of the money that he's leaving on that the Mavs took away from him by trading him before giving him the Supermax. There's a way where they can structure that extension where he can get on the back end and get his bird rights and make that bread up after this 5-year deal. So it's kind of like either going to get it now in this Supermax, or if he trades you got to wait another 5 years to get the extra bread. So Luka will be fine. All that goes to say Luka will be fine. But in terms of the money and where the bread is, 5 years, $229 million, and Anthony Davis, this is a good amount of bread for a guy of Anthony Davis's caliber. You're talking about 43 mil, 54, 58 mil. Lakers get out from underneath that contract and they get to absorb now. They can either keep Luka on the current deal, highly unlikely, but they can play that out if they want, or give him the 5 years, 229, and now you have your face of the franchise locked in. Whereas AD, they clearly figured out or thought, whether LeBron's going to be there for the next 2-3 years or not, that they don't want to build around Anthony Davis. I've been screaming from the mountaintops that they should have been building around Anthony Davis, but be that as it may, they have not built around Anthony Davis. So they've decided he's not it. Cool. Now you're building around Luka. What does that look like? Again, we're looking at this roster. These rosters are not that great. These rosters are not that great, right? When we're looking at, let me take this off the screen. When we're looking at what we got here, this roster is really mid, bro. Bron and AD were a thing. Luka and LeBron could also be a thing, but again, I'm still worried about that size. I'm worried about the bigs and who's going to get boards on this team. You're asking Jackson Hayes to be something that the Mavericks learned first. Him and Massman can talk to you about Jackson Hayes better than I can. We're talking about Jackson Hayes now being expected to be something. The Mavericks learned years ago that that's a bad thing to do. Let's head back to the chat. Mavs man. I definitely criticized Luka about his weight and he's not getting back on defense. But if you trade him, you have to get a haul in return. I mean, Anthony Davis is not a haul. Like, Anthony Davis to me is a haul. Like, I understand the concept of he's not Luka, right? Like, he's not a dude that's considered to be, top tier to some. But to me, it's like, you're still getting, wait, don't I have that saved? Yeah, I have that saved. Okay, let's go ahead and just do this. Like, we're doing Anthony Davis. Like, you're telling me this man is giving you 26 and 12 right now. That's a haul to me. I mean, low-key, I could say you took the Lakers' best player. Now, I know that's blasphemy because LeBron is still on this roster, but in terms of age and peak, you took the Lakers' best player. And that guy is an all-star top player. That guy is a DPOY candidate. That guy is an all-NBA player. So while I understand this isn't the Paul George trade where you get SGA and a shit ton of picks and all of that, like, I understand it's not that. You don't have Sam Presti. Only Sam Presti has that pixel dust to be able to woo these GMs into giving it all up, right? This isn't even the Rudy Gobert trade, right? Like, so I understand, but you understand that was the scam of them day, Danny Ainge. So there's reasons why certain GMs can't pull things off. There's only a couple of GMs that I think would have been able to get more for Luka. But again, here's the deal, right? If the Mavericks were to have leaked this out and say, hey, the Mavericks are open to trading Luka Doncic, one, I think that diminishes the value immediately because right now we don't know what Luka's timetable to return is. And you have people that are not necessarily pro Luka. Like, I've always called Luka Doncic Slovenian Harden. That's been my name for him, Slovenian Harden, because he plays just like James Harden, but he's from Slovenia. That's who that man is. But the fact that you could trade your most valuable chip for another team's most valuable chip, that to me means like it is a haul. Now, of course, you would want 3-4 picks, unprotected first rounders. Like, yeah, of course. But if you needed a body to play of someone who is reasonably available, like you could see scenarios where Anthony Davis is available. Who else is of that caliber that you could have traded for, legitimately traded for, not 2K, not the trade machine? Who else is of Anthony Davis's caliber right now that you think you could have traded for? Would you have settled for a lesser player and a shit ton of picks? Because let's be real, we knew SGA was nice in that Paul George trade, but let's not act like we knew SGA was going to be your future MVP, right? Like, we knew SGA was nice. That's a good young player to have. That's dope. And a shit ton of picks. You could sell that. What? You want Wemby and a whole bunch of picks? Like, I don't know what valuable young piece and a whole bunch of picks that you're going to get for Luka. I think if you're trying to keep Kyrie happy, which is the thing, if you want to keep that fan base like Mavs man happy in terms of we're holding a competitive squad and we're not tanking, you need a player of Anthony Davis's caliber. I truly believe that. I don't think I think that's a haul, being able to go damn near 1v1 with Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic. I think that's a really good deal for the Mavericks. Like, everyone's looking at the Bron-Luka dynamic, the Luka to the Lake Show dynamic, but let's not ignore what the Mavs are doing here. You're talking about Kyrie Irving, who can still be the lead guard. Now he can get the ball even more and do Kyrie things. And now he's got a big to throw to. Now he's got two bigs. The lobs he's going to get off to AD and Lively, and even Gafford if he's not moved, that's going to open a lot of things up. Like, now Kyrie has the whole floor. He was relegated to the off guard when Luka was healthy. And he still figured it out. I mean, I got a video on this channel saying, like, Kyrie Irving is the greatest number 2 option in NBA history. Because of the way that he can figure out when he's not the one, he wants to be the one. He thinks he's a one. But when he's number 2, he's a top tier number 2. Damn near the GOAT of number 2s. So now you have him as your 1. And now he's going to be feeding AD. Pick and roll Kyrie and AD. So you can do screens up top or double screens. AD and Lively. Who's guarding the roller? You would assume Lively or Gafford, assuming he's still there. Lively dives to the rim, but now you got AD floating on the outside for that midi. That's what he wants to do. So I like this for both teams. This is a win-win for both sides. This is one of those trades where we often throw out, it's a win-win or is it a lose-lose or who won, who lost. I legitimately feel both squads won. Scrub Zero in the house. I'm more surprised with the timing and circumstances than the actual trade, but this does help the Mavs defensively. As you said, this is a play for the future for the Lakers. Yeah, I mean, look, AD to me is a depoy candidate every single year he walks on the court. He's a depoy candidate. Now, Wemby might get it because he's going to influctuate the stats with all the blocks because he's goddamn 7 a million. But Anthony Davis is a top tier defensive big in this league who can also, by the way, get you 26 a night. Like, well, what's his defensive rating this year? Let's see if we can find, where's that at? That's normally in advanced, or let's see. What we're looking at when it comes to what AD can do, I think it's often overlooked. It's often overshadowed because he's playing next to LeBron. This is a 108 defensive rating. 108, 109. He's never been 110. 110 and above, 110 and higher is considered, well, 110 is considered average. You know what I'm saying? So 108, 104, 102, 102, 104, 100. Like, he finished fourth a couple of years ago in depoy. Like, people understand how good Anthony Davis is on both sides of the ball. To be able to give you 20 plus, 25 plus, damn near 30 plus, and still be a finalist for depoy, that's not nothing. Like, that's a top tier player. And he hasn't really showed that much signs of slowing down. Like, for a guy that's 31 years old, and we know what his injury history was, if you're really trying to look at what Anthony Davis is, he hasn't really had the injury bug like it was rumored to be, or what his actuality was at some points in his career. But he's not the fragile dude that he was once known to be. He's not that anymore. Whether that's improved regimen, whatever the case may be, he's not as fragile as he once was. To be able to get that guy straight up 1v1, I think it's hella impressive. Zach in the chat. Oh, without a doubt, AD at the 4 and Kyrie can still be fun as hell. Yeah, that to me is the key if you're the Mavs, right? Like, the Mavs have a chance here. This opens up stuff for Clay. Let's be clear. This opens up stuff for Clay and even PJ Washington a little bit, if you believe in that. Like, this opens up space. AD is going to draw attention. You have to double Anthony Davis. Now Clay will get opportunities. The only time Clay was getting opportunities off of a double was when Luka would go to the paint. Now you're looking at someone who predominantly is going to be in and around the paint in AD. Now you can do screen and rolls with Clay and AD. Clay off of a pin down with AD. This might help Clay get fully back to his old self. Now, not, 60 points on 11 dribbles, Clay, but like, this might help Clay get more acclimated and fit into whatever he was actually brought in to be on this roster. This roster looks way more complete to me than what the Lakers are currently. The AD fits in better with this roster as okay, now we're just going to roll this out with AD, as opposed to what the Lakers show about to roll out with, all right, whenever Luka decides to come back, this is who we got. Scrub Zero, facts. Keeping this on the hush-hush was beneficial to the Mavs and key for getting something key in return. Yeah, because once the blue check boys and girls start to run with this, like we see it in Miami, the whole Heat culture thing, and I'll have a video coming up on this real soon. As soon as Jimmy Butler gets traded, I got a whole clip I'm going to empty out on the Miami Heat and the myth of Heat culture. But when it comes to letting rumors out and letting tea out and letting the insiders run with your narrative, there's obviously positives to it, right? It's a reason why these teams and these organizations, these front offices, there's a reason why they do it. There's also some drawback. Like the Heat swore they were getting Damian Lillard just because he wanted to go there, and Bam Adebayo is his boy. And the Blazers were like, well, it don't work like that. And the Heat used the Miami media to try to push the narrative that the Blazers were trying to lowball the Heat. So you know what the Blazers did? They went and used Woj. Oh, you're going to try to use your local Miami Heat media or your national, local, I think Levitar was out here pushing for the Miami Heat in all their narratives. The Blazers went and got Woj. And Woj was putting it out there. The Trailblazers have been given legitimate offer to the Miami Heat, and the Miami Heat are not upping their offer. So you can play that game in the public if you want, but you don't know what's waiting in the tuck. You don't know what the response is going to be. And that to me is how you keep this on the low. Because if y'all say no, I don't want Luka to know that we try to flip him for AD. Like I don't want him to know that. This man allegedly, or at least should be rehabbing, getting right, maybe to come back by the All-Star break to maybe carry us into the playoffs. We don't need him now knowing we tried to flip him for AD. So let's keep this on the low in case the Lake Show says no. Mavs, man. We only have 3 years max to contend, in my opinion. No future in sight. Our top players are all approaching their mid-30s. All right, so here's where I agree, right? Like, yes. I think Lively is a starter. I know Gafford is the starter because he's a vet and all that. I think Lively is going to be your starter. I would start Derek Lively. Now, this is where your draft comes in. You have these assets. So you have your own first round picks. Now you have an unprotected pick in 2029. You have some swap rights with OKC coming up. Or let me see. Yeah, you can still see that. Yeah. Oh, no, you can't see that. Hold on. All right, cool. So down here, you have a top 2 protected first to Charlotte that you're owed. You know what I'm saying? Swap rights with OKC, unprotected first to Houston or Brooklyn. So those got to get up out of there. Those you're giving away. But in terms of assets, you have your own pick for the next few years. The next 2 drafts is your own pick. You got a 2029 one in the tuck now to replace the one that you had to give up to Houston and Brooklyn. You have multiple first round picks. I don't know, the Spurs could swap with you in 2030. So you have some picks, right? You at least have the next 2 drafts to figure it out. But again, with Anthony Davis, you're not going to be drafting that high. If Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, assuming that pair figures it out, which I don't think there's that much to figure out, you're not going to be drafting that high. I ultimately believe if you're trying to win, if the whole thing is about being competitive today, because let's be real. Let's put Luka back on this roster. Who's the young core? It's still just Luka. You could try to sell me on Lively and Luka, but okay, you flip Luka and get AD. What's the young core? It's just Derek Lively. So I mean, I don't think you gutted your core. You got an extra first in it that's unprotected. I like it. I'm not as, Mavs man is more invested than I am. But as someone from a distance, I think this move for the Mavericks is just as important and is just as impactful as it is for the Lake Show. The Bron narrative is going to be out there. The Bron narrative is always going to be there, right? But I mean, after that, I think looking at what this Maverick team looks like, this is a more complete team today. This is a more complete starting 5 than it was yesterday. The Kyrie Luka thing, it looked good at times. Again, Kyrie had to take a back seat to make it work. But Kyrie is meant to be a lead dog. Now you got Klay as your 2, PJ Washington as your 3, AD at his natural position at the 4. As good as AD has looked as a 5, with the Lake Show, with the Pels, all of that. The best Anthony Davis I ever saw in the NBA was when he had DeMarcus Cousins as his 5. That was the best. It was a short window, extremely short window, but that was the best Anthony Davis in terms of it all came together. You saw it. It was happening. It was real. He needs to be a four. He's a four. I mean, shit, he was a guard before he got the growth spurt and grew like goddamn 8, 9 inches. So I mean, he's not meant to be back to the basket, old school. That's not his game. He's not a Giannis. He's not that. Like, he's a four. Let him play the four. Let him be out there. He's not DeAndre Ayton. He's not, Nurkic. He's not Valanciunas. He is a four. Let that man roam and be the four. Just like you see with the Celtics, they're allowing Jason Tatum to kind of float out there and be a four. Like, even though he's 6'9", 6'10", damn near could be 6'11" at this point. But that man's going to be a four, and if Jaylen Brown is out, a three. Let that man play the role he wants to play where he's best suited, and that's best suited as a four. So much to get into. So much to get into. But your man's Windhurst was running around talking about all the things. I mentioned it earlier in regards to Luka and LeBron. It's a thing. LeBron wanted Luka on Nike, and Luka and LeBron has been talking to Kyrie about potentially going to Dallas to play with Kyrie and Luka, only for LeBron to snipe Kyrie and get Luka off for himself. And this is from Chris Haynes. Lakers let Rich Paul know immediately after the Mavs called the Lakers and offered Luka for AD. So we're getting tea now. Mavs called, and the Mavs proposed Luka for AD. The Lakers then took 48 hours to decide if they wanted to make the deal. That makes the most sense. And that's why I found, even though Shams is Shams, right? He's the one. He outlasted Woj. He played the game and he won. When he came out and said nobody knew, the players did not know, that to me reeks of nonsense. There is no way that LeBron James did not know. Now, organizations and front office historically have protected LeBron from admitting how much he's involved, but y'all are not stupid. That's why y'all tap it with this content, because y'all know that here, I'm going to tell you the real. We all know collectively that LeBron James was involved in this deal. Now, again, assuming this is the natural chain of events where that man in Dallas called Pelinka and said, Luka for AD, holla at me. I don't know if it happened exactly like that, but in the fact of the Lake Show let Rich Paul know, I believe that 1,000% because it makes sense. Rich Paul is that powerful in this league. He has the most powerful client in the league in LeBron James. And until LeBron goes away, Rich Paul is going to get that call. Especially when it reflects directly on LeBron and his legacy. LeBron's legacy always has to be protected and crafted and evolving. The last thing they want is LeBron was out here trying to flip AD. Even though low-key he might have. All right, what else we got? We did that. Okay, so from the Mavs point of view, right? Y'all remember this quote? Mark Cuban. If I had to choose between my wife and keeping Luka on the Mavs, catch me at my lawyer's office prepping for a divorce. Tongue in cheek, of course, but I think this is something that needs to be discussed because just like the LeBron James aura, story, narratives have been carefully protected, Luka's has too, especially in Dallas. And if Mavs man is still here, I'm sure he can attest to it, right? Luka's narrative has been protected. When they had the whole Rick Carlisle thing, that story kind of came and went about how they were beefing, and Carlisle saw it one way and was talking to Luka, and Luka didn't want to hear it. And there's been a real protecting of putting Luka's narrative in a bubble and making sure that he's not known as one of those superstars. But in actuality, he low-key might be. He low-key might be. Like, there's stories, if you do your Googles, I always implore my audience to do the research as well, because all this information is there. You just have to look for it. Luka, Rick Carlisle, There's a lot there. Mavs man, I'm sure can tap in with that. But Luka Doncic, Rick Carlisle, it was messy at the end. And I'm not saying I'm necessarily Team Rick Carlisle, but I kind of understand where Rick Carlisle was coming from. And I'm hardly, if ever, pro coach over pro player. But in that particular case, I'm not saying I would have did it, but I understand. If you know, you know. This just looks weird, bro. This just looks weird. This looks weird, bro. Do you understand how this all just happened less than 12 hours ago? Less than 12 hours ago. And now Anthony Davis is wearing Mavs. I mean, it's Photoshop, but it's weird. What a time we're in. All right, let's talk money. Let's talk money. Let's get there. Or we could do this. Let's do this first. Betting odds. Because I know there's some folk on this stream that like to drop some bread down and bet. The odds of winning the championship. Before this trade, the Lakers were 40-1. After this trade, 18-1. So the Lakers' odds got way worse if you're trying to bet. They got way worse after this deal. The Mavs, however, went from 25-1, which is sneaky good value, now to 40-1. So the Mavs are worse today, according to Vegas, of course. And again, that's for this year. It's not future and all that type of stuff. As of right now, Vegas is telling you the Lakers are better today, are more likely to win a championship today than the Dallas Mavericks. And I don't know if I agree with that. Because again, who's going to play defense on this Laker team? That's something we haven't really touched on that much. The Mavericks got infinitely better defensively because Anthony Davis is a deep boy candidate every year, damn near. What's the Lakers defense going to look like now with no Anthony Davis? You still got to go through Jokic. Jackson Hayes? That's who you're going to hit? Rui? Who's going to guard Jokic? Who's going to guard Wemby? Any big that's worth a damn. Who's going to guard him? Is LeBron now going to have to guard Jokic? You want that 40-year-old man to be guarding Nikola Jokic? Is that what we're doing? Very, very strange times we're in. Very strange times. But this money, right? Because it always comes down to money. As much as we get caught up in, is the team better? Are we going to win? Et cetera, you also have to come around to who benefits more financially. Because there's owners at play. Now, as much as they said, like, Rich Paul had to be called as soon as that trade offer came in, you know who else got a call? Jeannie Buss. Jeannie Buss got a call too. Ownership gets a call. And while Mark Cuban is still part owner, not the full owner like he used to be, still a part owner, he's not warranted a phone call. Because he doesn't have that say anymore. He's more of a mascot at this point now that he's given up and sold off a good chunk of the team, the majority control of the team. When it comes to bread, the financials of it, the Lakers now carry a $50 million tax bill this season. So again, you telling me players didn't know. You know Jeannie had to know because now Palinka's got to tell her, or his financial people, the guys, his capologists, have to tell Jeannie Buss, yeah, this trade puts us in that $50 million tax bill. We'll get our future face of the franchise. So we have the succession plan for whenever LeBron decides to walk away. Oh, but by the way, we're going to have a $50 million tax bill because of it this year. That's a conversation that needs to happen. Like, you can't just drop that on your owner, aka your boss, and be like, oh yeah, we can make this deal and we'll get better. We'll have a future face of the franchise and the jersey sales will go through the roof. We'll have, access to markets in Slovenia now. But we also got a $50 million tax bill coming because of it. So, yay or nay? What are we thinking? But they remain $1.6 million under the second cap apron, which is a big deal. A lot of teams are trying to avoid that second apron like the plague, okay? For the Mavericks are now over half a mil under the tax threshold. So again, no tax bill coming. We offload that Luka contract because we don't have to pay him the supermax. That supermax was likely going to put them in that same $50 million tax bill and maybe even threatening the second apron to pay Luka Doncic, right? Now that that's not the case, and they got AD's money, while it's still up there, 40 plus, 50 plus, it's a shorter deal that ends sooner than what Luka's deal would have, right? So over half a mil under the tax threshold, and they're holding over 6 million of the first cap apron space after the trade. So they're not even at the first apron. That's where the money really lies. There's your cap space, there's your tax bill, then there's the first apron, then there's the second apron. The second apron is, oh my God, we're just giving money away. The tax is gonna be crazy. But in regards to that first apron, you could have some wiggle room around that. But if you're an owner that don't want to pay, and the Mavericks have a new ownership group, it's not Mark Cuban Shark Tanking his way through it and blowing money fast and just, hey, yeah, go sign him, go sign. No. New owner, new ownership group, new mentality. They're not attached to Luka like Mark Cuban is or was. You know, the new ownership group ain't out here saying that I'll leave my wife for you. New ownership group is, we paid the bread because of you. We had to pay more because of the valuation of you. But now that we're here, now that we've kicked the tires on this a little bit, now that we've investigated the fact that you're always oft injured and your conditioning is always in question, and we want to pay you how much? We have to pay you how much in that supermax? Like, let's look at Luka for real. Production's crazy, right? 28, 8, and 8. It's amazing. He's amazing, right? Let's look at these games, though. This man has only played, the most games he ever played was his rookie year. The most games he's ever played in his career was his rookie year. I keep hearing how Anthony Davis is fragile. This man maxed out in terms of his availability his rookie year. And let's not forget, he came in the league at 19. This man was playing pro ball for like 3-4 years overseas. This man has a lot of wear and tear on his body already. So while the Lakers are going to get a good player whenever he decides to get healthy and whenever he decides to get in shape, let's also be clear that this man's biggest problem is his availability. When your peak availability is your rookie year and you're 7 years into your career, that's a problem. That's a real big problem. We'll hit the chat. Mavs man, the only silver lining that I see is the way the Mavs will move the ball now. They're always play team basketball whenever Luka was out. That's a thing. That's why he's Slovenian hardened. That's exactly why Luka Doncic is Slovenian hardened, because he's a ball stopper. As much as these numbers are gaudy in terms of the assists, 28, 8, and 8? These are gaudy assist numbers, right? For a guy of that size, 6'6", 230. Again, Slovenian Harden. If you look up Harden, similar stats across the board. But let's see. The Mavericks remain optimistic to return prior to the All-Star break. So let's see if that changes. Let's see if this changes. He's been out with that calf. Let's see if that changes. But in terms of what he can do offensively, we know what he is as a weapon. I mean, 8 dimes, 10 dimes, 8, 9. Like, this is who he is. But he's a ball stopper. Let's look at his offensive rating. His offensive rating, I bet you, is damn near 30, if not higher. Oh, sorry, usage rating, not offensive rating. Usage rate. But his offensive rating is through the roof. And his defensive rating is, 113. That's not good. Remember I said about 110 is the baseline, right? 110 is the baseline. 113, 111. Oh, usage rate. Boom. It's damn near 40, dog. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this usage rate. This man is a ball stopper. Ball stopper. Oh, I'm in the way. All right, let me move this over so I can see. All right, boom. Usage rate. This man is a ball stopper. Anything over 30 means you're extremely ball dominant. This man is touching 40, bro. He's touching 40. There's no team basketball when Luka's on the floor. So to Mav's main point, team basketball will now be in effect, and now we got Kyrie, who, as much as people think Kyrie is ball dominant, now we'll look past the last couple of years because he's played those with Luka. But if we get to Kyrie, where's his usage rate? Defensive rating, usage rate. Okay. Usage rate. Now remember, 30 is where you get to be a little bit ball dominant, right? A little bit. But anything over 30, it's high, dog. So 29, 30, 28, 26, 30, 31, 31. These are Cleveland and Boston years, by the way. Shout out to Derby. 33, so he's starting to get ball down. But this is Brooklyn, so this is Brooklyn, right? 30, 30. Then he starts to get under 30 again. Under 30, and now way under this year. So we'll throw out these 2 years, but even prior to that, right at 30. So as much as people like to think Kyrie's one of those ball-dominant dudes, when you look at it in comparison to Luka, not really. Not really. Hit the chat. Zach in the chat. Lakers to win the Pacific plus 180 is what I got my eye on. Hey, that's, let's see. Let's go ahead and look at these standings. Go ahead and look at these standings. Where are we at here? Let's get the full conference division. Huh. Let's see what we got here. Let's get that nicely lined up. This is an interesting call. Lakers, Clippers, Phoenix. Now here's the one caveat you got to be leery of. One, when is Luka coming back? When is Luka coming back? If he's legitimately coming back like that screenshot set of, like, okay, prior to the All-Star break, that's only a couple weeks. That's literally only a couple of weeks. Like, it's Valentine's Day. Like, it's Valentine's weekend. Like, that's when the All-Star break is. So you're telling me that man's coming back in the next 10 days? Next 10 to 12 to 14 days? Like, okay. Then how does that gelling look? There's going to be a period of gelling between LeBron and Luka, right? The Suns is who you have to keep an eye on. I don't see the Clippers making a move big enough to be able to create some room and separate. But the Jimmy thing is always lurking with the Suns. And depending on what the Kings do with De'Aaron Fox, like, here's the thing. Do you think the Mavericks would have listened? Man, that would have been some funny shit. If the Kings would have called, if the Kings would have learned that Luka's available, do you think the Kings would have gave up a king's ransom to bring Luka home? Luka was supposed to be a Sacramento King. Luka Doncic was supposed to be a Sacramento King. Can you imagine Luka and Sabonis? That's fire. That's a young core. If they could have flipped De'Aaron Fox, probably would have had to sprinkle in some more stuff. Maybe you throw in, do you throw in Keegan? Maybe you throw in Keegan. But can you imagine a core of Sabonis and Luka? That's fire. Now that would have been, it wouldn't have been as sexy, but I think that core going forward, oh, they run in the Pacific. Luka Doncic was supposed to be a Sacramento King. Vlade Divac was ready to do it, but then he had the bright idea of, well, I got De'Aaron Fox. Why am I going to trade? Why am I going to draft another guard when I have De'Aaron Fox? Now De'Aaron Fox is saying, fuck the Kings, get me out of here. Cool story. Just like the Trailblazers could have had Michael Jordan, but they was like, but we got Clyde Drexler. Why do we need Michael Jordan? We got Clyde Drexler. Let's draft Sam Bowie. The rest is history. Oh, man. But I do like that deal, though. Plus 180 to win the Pacific. If you're Phoenix, though, what's the counter? Does this force Phoenix to give up more for Jimmy? Does this trade low-key help the Heat? Because now Phoenix, KD was, I showed y'all KD's reaction, right? Where we at? Where KD's reaction at? KD's reaction is still right here. That's the face of a man who can't believe that just happened. And you already know he's on quick time and a hurry time. He's got the owner on speed dial. That's why Brad Beal is sitting there. Because he had the owner on speed dial. He leans back twice, bro. He leans back twice. This the first lean back. Like, what? Then he's like, all right, let me read some more. Then they get a second lean back. What? And then KD could not believe it, bro. And then Brad Beal is like, I'm trying to get up out of here. How the hell they were able to get this off, but I'm right here. I would go to Dallas. I want to hoop with Bron, because clearly KD don't want me here. Amazing time for him, bro. Does this trade low-key force Phoenix to give the Heat what they want? And to give the Heat what they want, that probably means they got to get a third and maybe even a fourth team involved to make all the salaries work, to add in the picks that's necessary. But how many picks do the Suns even have? Like, do the Suns even have picks? That's how you get the third and fourth teams involved, because I don't know what's left after they traded for KD and traded for Brad Beal. I don't know what's left. But I do like, to Zach's point, plus 180. That could be a nice little hit for y'all here on the stream. Plus 180 for the Pacific Division. Lakers are leading that division by half a game over the Clippers. The Suns you have to worry about. I don't know who's going to take De'Aaron Fox, except maybe the Heat. And Jimmy Butler and Sabonis does not sound as dope. It does not sound as dope as Luka and Sabonis. That's going to be very, very interesting. I like that deal. I like that bet. So if y'all tap in and do that, remember where you heard that. You heard that from Zach here on the DSMD YouTube channel. What else we got? Let me know your thoughts. I've been talking a hell of a whole lot. Y'all been good and active in the chat, and I'm always appreciative of that. If you haven't hit the like button already, go ahead and do that. That helps the algorithm. That helps YouTube push this stream to those like you who are into NBA, sports, live streams, all of that. So if y'all want to continue to tap in, feel free to hit that like button. A brother would appreciate that. There is so much to go over. Matisse Thybulle is all of us. Matisse Thybulle was all of us at midnight. Lake Show's going to be lit. You see it, the Photoshops are already, that's one of the main things I always look for is when are the Photoshops dropping? We've already seen the official Anthony Davis Photoshop. We've gotten that. But got to have the Laker one. And this is the perfect Luka one. He's beat up with the tape, the bad headband. Like, this is the future face of the Los Angeles Lakers. Can't make this up, man. Can't make this up. Shams broke that news and was running around crazy. More photoshops. More bad photoshops. The bad photoshops are always the peak. This is a bad Photoshop, bro. The Windhorse piece is still a really interesting piece for me because LeBron's always working behind the scenes. And we'll be wrapping it up here soon. LeBron's always lurking behind the scenes. He's playing chess. It's not chess and everyone's playing checkers. They're all playing chess. LeBron's just a little bit better because of his power and stature. He's a little bit better at, transactional chess than everybody else. To know that Anthony Davis was good enough a couple of years ago, but he might not be good enough for me and what I need right now, that's chess. To know that I'm in Cleveland the first time around, I don't have the horses to beat the Celtics. I need to go link up with my man's D-Wade. We'll go recruit Chris Bosh, even though Amari Stoudemire was first. But it ended up being Chris Bosh, not Amari Stoudemire. And it was supposed to be Melo, but Melo took the deal, the extension the season prior. But I'm going to go link up with D-Wade. The main thing was me and D-Wade going to team up. And we'll find a third dude. The third dude ended up being Chris Bosh. I'm going to milk what I can from this myth of Heat culture. Remember, that team was, 8-9 that first year? They wanted Spo fired. They wanted Pat Riley to come down from the owner's suite and come coach the team. Never forget that. They wanted Eric Spoelstra, who now is held in GOAT status, damn near. He's now, of this generation, he's on the Mount Rushmore of coaches. When the Heat were 8-9, 7-9, whatever it was, those first 15 games, they wanted Spo up out of there. So he got to rebuild his legacy. He got to cement his legacy. He got to begin to craft the legacy of, I'm going to be in a conversation with Jordan, even though he shouldn't be. I'm going to force the narrative to put myself in a conversation with Jordan. I need to win rings to do that. So I'm going to go link up with my man's D-Wade in Miami. He's going to teach me the way of the Heat culture, all the nonsense, and I'm going to use that to get a ring. And he got 2 of them, 2 out of 4, right? Then he's done with that. He famously had Pat Riley ready to recruit him before he went back to Cleveland, right? LeBron is in Vegas. He's holding meetings of teams that want to woo him. Pat Riley allegedly is on the outside looking in, waiting for a chance to go in the room and pitch to LeBron why he should stay in Miami. LeBron is in there watching the World Cup with his mans in them, not giving a fuck that Pat Riley's on the outside of the door looking in. Why? Because he was done with Pat Riley. Finished. Used up. I'm good. I got what I needed from you and your organization. I'm out. Goes back home. Finishes the story like Cody Rhodes in WWE. Finishes the story. Right? Cleveland, this is for you. I'm gonna have Kyrie's there. We're gonna go get K-Love. We're gonna go get all my mans in them. Road tripping pod. We're gonna pull them up. We're gonna boost everybody up that's in this LeBron ecosystem. I cement my legacy. I got a second one. I got a third one now. A third ring in 2 places. 3 total in 2 different places, right? Now I could go home. I can safely pull up. Everyone's going to give me my props because I did it for the city. Now I'm done with that piece. Now it's time for the empire. Now it's time to build generational wealth, even more so than I already have. Now it's time for, I want impact in Hollywood. Now it's time for Space Jam because I want to be in the conversation with Jordan. Kobe wanted to be in the conversation with Jordan so much so that he tried to be Jordan until he finally learned on the back half of his prime to be the Mamba, to be his own person. LeBron in my opinion, still hasn't gotten to that point where he's trying to be his own person. I think he's still chasing that ghost. You don't do Space Jam and say you're not chasing that ghost, bro. You don't redo Space Jam and redo it worse than Jordan and try to tell me you're your own man. Don't want to hear it. But he was done with that. Now it's time. LA, this is now where I'm at. I got power. I got control. So much so that they drafted my son in the second round when nobody else was. I don't care what the Warriors were putting out there. And of course, LeBron and Steph, they're like this. So, hey, tell them y'all was looking at Bronny. All right, I'll put a call in as a favor. And we know how this stuff works, but I digress. I got enough pullback to get my son drafted in a league that openly says he's not worthy. And I'm able to get him a guaranteed contract for a second round pick, which is unheard of. But now, I got Anthony Davis. I forced that move. I got him to leave the Pelicans, got him to get down with Rich Paul and Clutch Sports, and we made it happen. We got that chip in the bubble. I cement my legacy again. I'm chasing Jordan. Now I got 4, but I got 4 in 3 different places. I'm still chasing Jordan. What do I need to do to put myself in a conversation to get that 5th, to get that 6th, to get that 7th? I need a new teammate. AD alone, me and AD alone can't get it done. Who's next? Damn sure ain't gonna be Bronny. I don't know if I'm gonna be here for Bryce. I need somebody. I've had my eye on Luka for years. Try to get him down with Nike. But he signed with Jordan Brand. Again, chasing that ghost. Signed to deal with Nike. Try to get him down with Nike. Kyrie hit me, trying to get me to come to Dallas to hoop with him and dude. How can I play transactional chess? Let me see if I can flip this. Let me snipe Kyrie. Let me snipe Kyrie and take Luka off of myself. But I gotta do it at the expense of AD. Let me have that conversation with AD. But we'll leak to the media that me and you are talking to Pelinka about bettering the roster. But in actuality, we're having a conversation about it might be time. One of us gotta go. And I don't know if you know, but I'm chasing Jordan. So it can't be me. It can't be me. So Anthony Davis is a sacrificial lamb for the continued evolving LeBron James legacy. And now Luka's next. And LeBron's going to use up whatever he can of Luka, which to me is the weird part because, as we just saw, this man hasn't played a lot of games. This man is not that healthy. This man has not been as consistent, as available as you would think someone of his caliber is. Again, this man's healthiest year was his rookie year. That's hella problematic, bruh. Your healthiest year was your rookie year. We'll hit the chat. Scrub Zero, I can't stand some of the bad Photoshops. Yo, bro, this is horrible, bro. Like, this one's not horrible. At least they got the opacity to try to, like, fade it into the background because it's bad. They learned to go monochrome here. I think that's smart. But somebody did this one. I mean, this one is horrible. This one is bad. Like, I think AI could do a better job than this. This is not good, bro. It's just not. Like, you could see some of the blue in the Mavs. Like, if you know what to look for, you can see some of the blue. Like, even right here, you can see in the crease of the Mavs uniform. Yeah, it's just not, yeah. Salute, though. It'll do numbers. Like, look, 2.3 million. Like, see, it doesn't matter. Quality does not, let me see, let me take that off the screen. I can see the numbers here. 2.3 mil. Like, that's all that really matters. 2.3 million views. And again, another bad Photoshop. Another bad Photoshop. Come on, bruh. Look at these Photoshops, bruh. But again, does numbers. 55K. 55K. So, who else we got? Mavs, man. Dallas basketball will be all right. We got Paige Bucks. Mavs, man, clowning. What else we got? Zach, Rich Paul is AD's agent too, right? Will be interesting to learn how it all went down behind the scenes. Yeah, no, that's the thing. To make the deal for the Pels and the Lakers, right after, no, just before, yes, it was just before the Pels made the deal, all of a sudden, Anthony Davis became a Clutch client. So he became a client for Rich Paul and Clutch Sports. Then all of a sudden, Anthony Davis wants out. And wouldn't you know it, the Pels trade Anthony Davis to Lakers because that's the only place Anthony Davis wanted to be. I wonder why. It's all politics, even when it's not. Matt Wallace joins the chat. What's up, Matt? Reports are saying Dallas isn't done dealing players since trade deadline. I'd imagine they're going to trade more and get another guard. Ooh, let's see. Let's see what another guard would look like. Where's that window? All right, so what are you trading? And I'm not saying that sarcastically. I'm like genuinely curious. What are you trading? We see this roster. I'll blow it up one more time so I can see that piece. I know the bottom is cut off. I'll drop this for a sec. What are you trading? Is there any value in trading PJ Washington? Is there any value in trading Spencer Dinwiddie? Do you know anyone who's that big on Jaden Hardy or Quentin Grimes to give up anything worthwhile for? Low key, your biggest trade asset now is probably Derek Lively. Are you flipping Derek Lively? I'm not flipping Derek Lively. I think he's your future five. I think Gafford is in play. That's kind of been the open secret. Is Daniel Gafford is likely to be traded. But now with AD might put that call in like, yo, I need a real five. Keep Gafford there. Let Lively learn under the both of us. Pause. And we can figure that out. But their biggest trade chip now is Derek Lively. I don't know if I'm giving up Derek Lively for a guard. Like, if you have, what guard would you want to get? Because right now you have a point guard, a score-first point guard in Kyrie. You have your shooter in Klay Thompson. You have a multi-purpose wing in PJ Washington. You have your best player in Anthony Davis at the 4. And you have Gafford, who's a traditional old-school big, at the 5, who could do some rim running, protects the rim, stuff like that. I don't know what guard you're going to get that can fit in better, unless you tell me lead guard off the bench. I don't like Spencer Dinwiddie in terms of a scoring guard off the bench. He's a point. He's a bucket, but I don't trust him in that role. I don't know who your sixth man is in terms of we need a bucket. Who's going to be that guy off the bench to be a bucket? Cleveland was your big shooter, so you don't have a role there right now. So I think there's some tinkering that could be done, but I don't know for certain. I don't know what you do with that roster. I don't know what more you can do with that roster right now. I mean, you have some picks that you can offer. You have some picks that you can flip. You have your own first for the next 2 years. If you want to flip a first in Dinwiddie, a first in Grimes, a first in Hardy, maybe. But I don't know how much I'm going crazy in terms of getting a guard. I think the big move was the big move. Now, I think the Lakers aren't done. I don't think the Lakers are done. This, to me, says y'all need a big. You just traded your starting center. Maxi Kleber's not that. Markieff Morris is not that. Christian Wood is injured. Even when he's not injured, he's not that. Jackson Hayes has never been that. Like, Jackson Hayes, Jackson Hayes. This is your starting center for the Los Angeles Lakers. Like, it can't be this, bro. It can't be this. He's a bench warmer. This is not someone you trust. And what's his defensive rating? I mean, I'm not going to go too crazy, but let's play this out. Is he even a factor defensively? I don't believe so, but no, he's a 112. 112, 113, 111, 4. Big for a guy who's not even there to score. For a guy who's not even there to score, you're telling me your defensive rating is equal to Luka Doncic's? No. So to me, the move is the Lakers cannot be done. They cannot. If Luka's supposed to be back prior to the All-Star break, which is under 2 weeks, or even if it's right after, let's say he's back sometime this month. Who's he throwing lobs to? He'll get a couple of LeBron, and those clips will go viral. Maybe Rui? Jackson Hayes will catch the occasional, but he's not supposed to be here. He's not supposed to be starting 5. Can you imagine JJ Redick? You left a pod in a gig at the 4-letter network where you were being praised as the next basketball super genius mind in the analyst space. You gave it all up. Again, the LeBron transaction chess. You gave up let me see, I'll come up the screen for a second. Give me a sec. You're JJ Redick. You gave up a career that was ascending. About to do the NBA Finals. You're on the A broadcast team on the 4-letter network. You got a pod that's running the numbers up. You're doing a pod with LeBron that's running the numbers up. And LeBron got into your head. LeBron got into your head and gassed you up. You know you could coach, right? This Darvin Ham thing, it's not working out. I've kind of run out of retread coaches that I'm willing to deal with. But you know ball. I like the way you analyze the game. I like the way you break it down. Me and you are sitting here dissecting film because we're ball junkies. How about you coach me? Would you like that? Me, you, AD? Come coach the Lakers. That man convinced him to give up 4 jobs to come coach him. He convinced that man to give up 4 jobs for 1. And that 1 job is stressing him the hell out. Because he's got to deal with the likes of Jackson Hayes, Shake Milton, Gabe Vincent, Bronny. That man convinced you to walk away from 4 gigs for 1, and you look stressed as hell. The LeBron checkers. It's layered, it's tiered, it's multifaceted. That's where he's the GOAT. If we're really trying to have the GOAT debates, the GOAT argument, you will never convince me LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. However, at the transactional game, LeBron's the greatest. There's no doubt about it. I will give him that right now. GOAT James. Give me the GOAT mask that Unc used to wear on FS1. I'll wear that when it comes to the transactions. Transactional GOAT, it's Bron. Hit the chat. Mavs, man. We still have a $16 million trade exception, so maybe we can fit that. We can fit somebody into there. Now that's interesting. I like that piece. Let's see if we can go back to that. Where are we at? So you can absorb some salary. That makes things interesting. Now let's take a look. I don't have the list of all the dudes who want out. I mean, we all kind of have a good idea. All right, let's kind of take a look at potentially who could be available based off of these teams. Let's try to. Celtics aren't trading anybody. The Knicks are not trading anybody. Philly, Paul George. I don't know why you would do that if you're Dallas, but and I don't think he does. He makes too much money anyway. The Nets. Ben Simmons wants a buyout. Just putting that out there. Ben Simmons wants a buyout. The Raptors are allegedly in the mix for Jimmy. If they're in the mix for Jimmy, then they're looking to get to clear up some space, right? Is there anybody here that could work in Dallas as a guard? Emmanuel Quickly? Wasn't he a Mav already? No? Okay. Huh. Cavaliers, I don't think they're doing a deal. Pacers, how do you feel about Mathburn? I don't know if they'll do it. Oh, Mathern. I don't know if they'll do it. Yeah, there's not this. What about Chris Middleton? The money doesn't work. Chris Middleton's available. Zach LaVine? I don't think the money works. See, that's going to be the problem, man. That's going to be the problem. Is you have that exemption, but who all can you fit in that exemption? Kuzma? Low key, Jordan Poole's been playing well. I know nobody cares because it's Washington, and I'm not asking you now to go watch Washington Wizards games. I would never ask you to do that. But Jordan Poole, the Nuggets thing, right? The Nuggets are an interesting team. I'm not saying Russie. Christian Brown is the future at the 2. They've made that clear. Does that make Jamal Murray expendable? Christian Braun is their future. They're grooming him. He's got a lot of Tyler Hero in him where he just needs to be given a rock so he can cook. And low-key, Jokic and Rusty have been giving Christian Braun the rock while Jamal Murray tries to figure things out and get back to, bubble Jamal Murray and even Jamal Murray from a few years ago when he won the chip. Is Christian Braun's ascension, and he's on a rookie deal, does that allow for its flexibility to move Jamal Murray? The Timberwolves are a dumpster fire. Bodega Cat, that trade, I thought that trade was going to be a lose-lose. And it still may ultimately be for the Knicks, because remember, I'm still chief Knick hater #1. But I knew it was going to be a lose-lose. It was going to be a loss for the Timberwolves. You don't take back Julius Randle and give up Karl Anthony Towns and are better for it, right? And we talked about that here on this channel. But be that as it may, who becomes expendable? No one's going to take Mike Conley. Alexander Walker? Yeah, they really don't have. It's not a lot of guards that are available that aren't max players or at least making max money. That's the difficulty in trying to trade. Clippers, low key. Norman Powell's been cooking. And I know he's Norman Powell, but he's been cooking. Yeah, there's not a lot of guards, yo. I don't know what guards you're gonna get. Grizzlies. Yeah, there's not a lot of guards, bro. Unless you're gonna try to overwhelm. I don't think that they would do it anyway. But maybe you try to go get Bane, see what the asking price is for Bane. But I just don't. I don't see a guard being available outside of Jimmy and Brad Beal that teams are willing to move on from. Now I'm sure as the deadline gets closer, I'm sure we'll get wowed again, and I'll do like I always do here. I'll do a trade deadline live stream, and we'll recap whatever happens then. But like, I just don't see a guard that's available where salaries can match. That's not a max type player, or at least a max salary. Zach in the chat. I ain't trading for a dude that's coming off surgery with a $30 million player exemption, Middleton. But you just traded for a dude coming off of. You just traded for Luka, who's off injured. But no, I feel you. I feel you. But at least Middleton's playing. Luka's not even playing. All right, let's see what we got. Sean's got anything new? No, he just got the bad. Still got the bad Photoshop up. All right. I think we will wrap it up there. Appreciate all of y'all for tapping in. If you like what you've been watching, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, all that type of good stuff. I pop on here when it comes to big stuff like this, and I drop weekly videos. If you're into sports, technology, and how those things combine, I use my years of working in the sports media industry for about 16 years and combine those things. I give you tea on sports media. I give you tea on how equipment is used, and I talk about things like this: blockbuster trades, basketball analysis, football analysis, overall sports analysis. So if you like that type of content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, let people that you know about the stream, about the content, and I'll tap in with y'all again very soon. I got a video. I'm telling you, the minute Jimmy Butler gets traded, we're doing a live stream, and then I'm doing a whole video destroying Heat culture and how it's a myth. So if you want to be tapped in and alerted and notified of when that drops, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications. Let's see. Anything else before I wrap it up? No, that's about it. All right. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. I will catch y'all again soon. Make sure to turn on that bell so you're notified when I come back on and do live streams. I think Sundays and Mondays are going to be live stream potential schedule days. So either Sunday or Monday, I'll be able to hop on and do live streams. So doing it again, like this type of content, you're able to chime in on the chat, things of that nature. Go ahead and sub, hit the like button, all that type of YouTube stuff. And I'll catch you again soon. I'm DSamD, at DSamD on all socials, and I'll holler at you again soon. Peace.